Oh man, I don't know why I get myself into these situations. Oh, poor canoe is not going to have any yellow paint left on it by the time this one's over. It's just all rocks as far as I can see. How's it going, guys? Welcome back. So we're out for another little adventure here, Goose and I. So we just left the road maybe about half an hour ago, and I'm already starting to think this was a bad idea. So the plan for this trip was to try and drag my canoe up this little river here. So I came down this river before in my pack raft, and I knew it was a super shallow and rocky little river, but it's been a few years since I've been down here, so I don't know, for some reason I got the idea in my head to try and take my canoe up this river, and eventually, after several kilometers of this rocky little river here, we reach some ponds where I can paddle my way back out to the highway about 12 kilometers down the road. So that's the plan, but like I said, we're off to a bit of a rough start. It's real slow going, super rocky, water levels are low, and I got off to a late start. So at this point, who knows what's going to happen here. I just got to keep plugging along here for the afternoon, and I was hoping to make it to the pond that this river flows out of and camp there for tonight, and then continue on tomorrow and camp out again tomorrow night, and then finish the route on day 3. But if it keeps going like this with these rocky conditions, who knows what's going to happen. I may not be able to make it up to that pond today, so I'll just have to find a spot to camp along the river here somewhere, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so there's a small pond right here that I have to cross, and then the river continues up to the first pond that this river flows out of that I was just talking about earlier. But yeah, we're going to have to paddle this, but we got a nasty headwind coming right down here, and we got to paddle right into it. So yeah, there's not much going in our favor so far, but we got to get her done. See white caps coming right down the pond, so that's not a good sign. Come on, bud, let's go. Up. Okay, up here. Up. Good boy. So forecast is calling for wind gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour, all day into this evening, so it's going to be right in our faces. All right, well, I didn't get that on camera, but basically we're windbound here already. So I came around this little point here, heading up this way, and when I came around, the wind was just right in my face, and I just couldn't go any further. The wind basically stopped us, and I had to pivot the canoe, turn around, and come right back down around on the other side of this point here. But yeah, the wind is just gripping. Guys, a little update here. So we're back on the move. We were windbound for about an hour and a half or so maybe, and I was just actually getting ready to cut my losses and head back to the truck because we were only about a kilometer into the route. So I was just going to call it off and head back, and just as I was packing up the canoe, the wind just dropped right out. So it's strange because forecast calls for strong winds all day and all night, but anyways, we got a little window here, so I decided to press on. So I was able to wade with the canoe for a little bit, but I didn't think that was going to last long. The river's pretty much dried up again here now, so I'm just going to carry the pack and my paddle, and I'll go for, I don't know, a couple hundred yards, and then I'll have to go back and take the canoe, carry the canoe, and I'll just keep doing that, keep plugging away at it for the rest of the day here. So it is 10 past 3 right now, so we'll keep going for at least a few more hours, see how far we can make it. Poor canoe is not going to have any yellow paint left on it by the time this one's over. This just goes on as far as I can see. Pretty much dried up altogether now. Oh man, I don't know why I get myself into these situations. So, still got a few hours left of daylight here, so I'm going to keep plugging away at it. But it's not getting any easier. It's just all rocks as far as I can see. every time I go around a bend in the river, I'm hoping it's going to open up so I can just wade with the canoe and just tow it behind me in the water, but it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. So anyways, the wind has picked back up again big time, which is making it hard to carry the canoe over my head. The wind just wants to take it and blow it right out of my arms. So oh well, I'm in it now, so we just got to keep going. Well, we made it to this little steady here, so should be able to paddle this. Wind is just gusting big time. All right, move up, Goose. Up here. Come on, up. So I just looked at the map. I got about 1.5 kilometers, maybe 2 kilometers of this river left. So it all depends now on what the conditions are like, whether or not I'll make it the rest of the way up the river tonight or not. All right, Goose, let's go. Finally, a little section of river here that I can actually paddle. It only lasts for about 100 meters or so, and then it dries up again, but I'll take it. Goose is trying to get in. Come on, Goose. We're getting out again in a minute anyways, bud. Boy. Oh, Goose, come on, man. Oh man, I'm starting to get pretty tired now. Goose is getting tired too, I can tell. But we got a ways to go yet. We're gonna keep plugging away for at least another hour or so. Looks like we're gonna have to get out again, bud. Longest little stretch we've been able to paddle all day. As soon as I say that, we bring up solid on a rock. Stay there, Goose. All right, well, I just carried the canoe through this stretch of woods here. was easier than trying to get up over these rocks in the river. So now we're to another little section. I think we can paddle a little bit here. Looks like it dries up again up here though. I think we're getting close. I just looked at the map again. I think we're getting close to the pond that I was trying to make it to. Still got about an hour and a half or so of daylight left, so we're gonna keep going. We're exhausted, but we gotta keep going now. Hey Goose. I just took Goose's pack off because he was starting to slow down. I don't want to push him too hard here, so. Oh, whew. Almost went for a swim. So I'm getting pretty exhausted now, and I can tell because fly on the screen. Yeah, I can tell when I'm getting tired because I'm starting to lose my balance a lot, lose my footing, and trip up and stumble. So that's generally the time when you want to call it a day, especially when you're out by yourself like this. But I'm pretty sure we're getting close. I'm just going to take my time, push on a little further. Hopefully we're almost to the pond where I'm going to camp. Woo! Well, if memory serves me correctly, I think it's just a short paddle now, and we're going to be at my campsite. So that should be the last time I have to carry the canoe today. Oh man, I'm exhausted, soaked in sweat and water, and I just want to get to camp. And I know Goose is exhausted too. He's ready to call it a day. So one last little paddle and we'll be pulling into camp here. Good boy, Goosey. We're almost there, bud. We're almost there. Of course, we still got a headwind to deal with, but still rather be paddling than carrying this bloody canoe over all those rocks. Had enough of that for one day. Hey Goose. Alright guys, we finally made it. So this is where I've been trying to get to all day. It's almost 8 o'clock. And yeah, it's good to be here. Glad to have that river or that brook or whatever you want to call it behind us. So we don't have to mess with that anymore. So nice little spot here right alongside the pond. So here's the pond I was trying to make it to, and here's the beginning of the river. So we came from that way. Anyways, there's a little spot right back here where I'm gonna set the tent up. I camped here last year for a couple of nights. So we gotta get camp all set up, and then I'm just looking forward to getting out of these wet clothes, getting some dry clothes on, getting these wet boots off, and getting some food, and that'll be about it for tonight. Absolutely exhausted now. It was a hard day, so yeah, let's get camp set up. Alright guys, so camp is all set up. So I'm just going to get some food going. So I brought my little twig stove on this trip. So the fire index here in central Newfoundland right now is in the very high category, I believe. So there's no actual fire ban in place or anything, but just a little twig stove comes in handy, especially in the summertime when you don't want to have a full campfire. So I'm kind of glad I brought it now, actually, because I'm definitely too tired to be going through the woods and getting a bunch of firewood for a fire. So I just got a bunch of dry sticks here. So I'm going to put this together now, and I'll just use this to boil my water and cook up my supper. So I got some dehydrated moose chili here, so I'm going to rehydrate that. And I'm just going to put it on some tortillas and with a bit of cheese, so kind of like a chili taco type thing. So these little stick stoves or twig stoves, you really got to keep the little sticks, you got to feed it pretty much constantly to keep them burning, because the sticks just burn out in a matter of a minute or two. But they definitely come in handy for times like this. Cheese is all melted. It's going to melt anyway when the chili goes on top. Alright guys, well, supper is all finished up here, so just having a hot chocolate here now. Then I just got to clean up my my cooking stuff, pack that all away, and we'll be calling it an evening. So the sun has gone down now, starting to get dark. Goose was laid down until I came up here by the tent, Now he's trying to play with the stick again. You gotta be tired now. You gotta be. Anyways, guys, it was a long day, so the day got off to a bit of a rough start. I had all my gear packed up last night because I wanted to get an early start today, because I knew coming up that river was gonna be a tough day. So I knew what I was getting myself into. So anyways, I had to drive an hour from my home to get out to the spot where I started the trip from. So I got out there early this morning, probably around 9 o'clock, and when I got there I realized that I had left my Zoleo at home. So that's my satellite communication device that I bring on trips. So yeah, I had that left at home. So then I had to decide if I was going to go on without it or go back and, you know, drive an hour back home and grab it. So I decided to play it safe. So I drove all the way back home again and grabbed it, and I even thought about just calling the trip off at that point, but I decided to carry on. So I drove another hour back to the spot again where I left from. And yeah, I was basically at that point like 2.5 hours or so behind schedule. So I didn't get going until around noon. And then right off the bat, we got windbound on that little pond. There was just no way I could paddle that pond when the wind was up. So we were stuck there for like an hour and a half. And at that point, I pretty much had called the trip off. So I was packing up my gear. I got in the canoe actually to paddle back to the truck, and all of a sudden the wind just dropped out. It gave me like a 30-minute window to paddle across that little pond. So I was heading back towards the truck when the wind dropped. I turned around again and crossed that pond and just decided to go for it. And I actually managed to make it to the spot that I wanted to make it to tonight. So it all worked out, but it was a rough day hauling the canoe over all those rocks and carrying it and stuff, and then the wind was blowing, trying to blow the canoe off my head when I was carrying it. So yeah, it was a rough one, but glad I didn't call it off. We're here, and yeah, it's good to be back out on a trip. So it's the first time I've been out for a few weeks now, just haven't had time to get out, so I'm glad it all worked out. So we're both tired, Goose and I, so we're going to be calling it a night here soon. Tomorrow, like I said earlier, all that river stuff, dragging the canoe and stuff, that's all behind us now. So I just got a few ponds to paddle, one portage to do tomorrow, about 1 kilometer or so, and then I'll be camping in a different spot tomorrow, and then on the following morning I'll make my way back to the road where I'm going to be getting picked up and getting shuttled back to get my truck around 12 to 13 kilometers, I think, away from where I started out to today. So that's the plan anyways. So thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you guys stay tuned. I don't feel like I've been filming a whole lot, but like I said, the priority today was just to try and get that river behind us and make it here, and that's what we did. So tomorrow should be a bit more of a relaxed day. I'm hoping to do some fishing and do some paddling. I'm pretty sure the wind is supposed to drop out tomorrow, so that'll be good. Should be a nice day to just paddle around. We'll do that portage, make our way to the last pond before the road, and then we'll camp out again tomorrow night, and we'll be heading out on the following day. So anyways, guys, we'll see you in the morning. Morning guys, so just getting on the go for the morning here. So it's just after 7. So yeah, beautiful morning. The sun is out, the wind dropped out overnight a little bit, still a little bit of a breeze, but for anyone who's wondering what Goose carries in his pack, because I get that question every now and then, just figured I'd show you guys what's in here. So there's not a lot on this trip. So he carries his food bowl and all of his food. So I put his food in these Ziploc bags so it doesn't get soaking wet. And he usually carries all the food, even when I bring Molly, he'll carry all the food for both of them. So he has a little bit of a lighter load this trip because only half the amount of food when it's just him. Yeah, he got his food, his collapsible food bowl, and then he's got a bag of treats. And I put my set of titanium pots in there yesterday as well. And he's got his pet first aid kit, just some basic stuff in here, bandages in case he cuts his paw or whatever. And that's pretty much it. Oh, I put this roll of twine in there. This comes in handy sometimes, so I threw that in there yesterday. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Total weight probably only about 5 pounds or so. So yeah, that's about it. So if we're doing a trip where he's not going to be in the water as much, sometimes I'll put a little more stuff in here. But because yesterday I knew we were going to be traveling up that river and he was basically going to be in the water all day, I didn't want to put anything in here that I didn't want to get wet. So that's all he has this time. So on the final day now, when he has all his food gone, I'll probably pack some of my camping gear in there as well, just to lighten my load a little bit, like my my air mattresses or something like that. You want your breakfast, Goose? There you go. Good boy. Coffee time. Alright, well, plan for today, after I finish up my coffee and my breakfast, I'll probably do a little bit of fishing here by camp. So I'm seeing some little small fish jumping out here. I don't know what they are, but last time I was here I caught a bunch of little small salmon peel or salmon parr, so that's probably what it is. But yeah, it's a nice morning to do some fishing, so I'll probably fish here in front of camp for a bit. Then I'm going to break down camp, pack everything up, and we'll paddle down to the far end of this pond. And then there's just a little brook that connects this one with the next one, so we'll get through that. Paddle out in the next pond for a while, maybe do some fishing there, and then we got the longest portage of the trip to do. So I think it's about 1 kilometer, if memory serves me correctly. but I'll have to make 2 trips, one with the gear and then one with the canoe. So that'll take me probably an hour or so, and it's going to be a hot day, so I'll take my time to do that portage. Then we'll be out into the final pond of the trip sometime this afternoon. So we'll just explore that one for a bit, do some paddling and some fishing, find a spot to set up camp for the evening. And tomorrow morning we'll just have to do a little bit of paddling on that pond, and we'll make our way back to the highway. So that's the plan. Looks like it's going to be a beauty day. No luck. Not even a bite. All right, Goose, let's go. Up, up. Good boy. All right, off we go. Beautiful day. A little bit of a breeze, and the wind actually changed direction since yesterday, so we're going to have a little bit of a tailwind. So there's a little brook up ahead here that flows straight from the pond that we're going to camp on tonight. So I'm going to make my way over there and get out and do a little bit of fishing. I have a few casts anyways. And then we'll carry the canoe through the little brook that connects this pond to the next one. Okay. Well, I've just been fishing this little brook here, no luck, not even a bite. So we're heading this way. You can see the next pond just through the trees, so got to get the canoe and all the gear through here now. So I'm going to do that next. Goose, get out of there. So, an old fire pit here. And of course, people had to leave their Bud Light cans. So I'll never understand it. Someone probably was in here on a snowmobile in the winter time. It looks like, because these logs look like they were cut with a chainsaw. So this is most likely someone fishing in the winter time. So they were probably on a snowmobile, brought a bunch of beer cans in, drank the beer, and instead of just crushing the cans and throwing them back in their bag, they just leave them here. Crazy. I'll never understand it. Anyways, I'm gonna crush these cans now and pack them out. Throw these in Goose's pack for now, so I'll put them in my garbage bag later. Hey, up. Move up, Goose. Here, up. Good boy. Good boy. Ah. Almost there. Soon be time for some lunch. Starting to get hungry. Oh, just stop for a little shore lunch here. Gonna have a quick coffee and a granola bar. Just a few little snacks. Not really gonna cook anything up. And then we'll paddle down this pond and get that big portage over with. It's probably gonna be the hottest part of the day by the time we do that portage, but that's it. We'll just we'll take our time and get it done. Well, we're just approaching the portage trail that'll lead us into the final pond of the trip where we're going to camp tonight. So there's a little beach up ahead here, and I camped out here last year on a video. So some of you guys may recognize this if you watched that video. Wait. Okay. Good boy. Nice little beach here. So last year I set my tent up right here and spent the night here. It was a beautiful evening. So yeah, hoping to get back here. My wife wants to come out here for a trip and stay overnight, so we're hoping to do a pack rafting trip. She has her own pack raft now, so hoping to get out for a night with the pack rafts and camp here on this beach if we can get the right time and the right weather. So when I was coming up that river yesterday, I noticed that the bottom of the river in places was covered in these. I don't know if these are clams or freshwater mussels or something. I'm not sure exactly what they are. I've seen them before, but Goose, you don't want that. Yeah, if anyone knows exactly what these things are called, feel free to let me know in the comments. There's one that's still attached to the bottom. Looks like a clam, but I'm not sure. Well, the first couple hundred meters of this portage here is this big stretch of bog, so I should be able to throw my backpack on and drag the canoe behind me until I get up to the actual trail. Then I'll just walk through with my backpack and all my gear, and then I'll come back and carry the canoe through. Whew. Oh man, absolutely soaked in sweat now. Oh, it's hot here in the woods, no wind at all. Flies are bad. Just drenched in sweat. Whew. Wish I had your energy, Goose. I'd be laughing. Goose there chasing a stick, bouncing through the woods with his backpack on, like it's nothing. Anyways, we're in the trail now, soon be to the point where I'll have to leave the canoe and just hike through with my gear and come back and grab the canoe. So last little stretch here, I can see the last pond. I already carried the backpack and all the rest of the gear through. So last little leg of the portage here, and then smooth sailing for the rest of the day. Shoot, Goose. Poor old Goose here is getting absolutely tortured by the stoats, or the horse flies, whatever you want to call them. They're just sticking right into his face. He's got a big old welt over one of his eyes. Let me see. He's got one here on his snout too. Man, they're brutal. Anyways, hopefully we get back out. You always got to shake on me, don't you? Yeah, hopefully when we get back out on the water now, flies won't be as bad. So there was an old bridge here across this brook at some point. Not much left to it now. Not sure what that's all about, but pretty much out into the pond now. So there's a little cove up ahead where I've camped before. So I think I'll head back there. At least I know there's a spot there where I can pitch my tent. Should be shelter from the wind as well. Okay. Well guys, it's been a few hours now since I turned the camera on, so we've basically just been hanging around camp here for the afternoon, trying to stay cool. So I got the tent set up back behind me here, and got all the gear packed away and stuff. So yeah, haven't been a whole lot going on. I got super hot this afternoon, so we've just been trying to stay cool. Goose has been out in the water basically the entire afternoon. Yeah, what else did we do? Well, I cut up a bunch of firewood, so I was gonna just use the twig stove to cook on again tonight, but there's a couple of dry sticks here just behind me, so I decided to cut up some wood just for something to do, more or less, something to keep me busy. So yeah, the wind has dropped right out now, so it should be safe enough to have a little campfire. So I'm gonna get that started here soon. But yeah, just a beautiful evening here now. Wind is pretty much gone altogether. Man, what an evening. So here's the tent just up here, just up off the shore. Strung up a clothesline here to dry out my pants and socks. So I'm gonna get the fire going now shortly, get some food going, and just enjoy the fire and relax for the evening. Be heading back out in the morning. So got my trusty ferro rod here from my buddy Matt. Canoe and Dog Explorers is his YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out if you haven't already. I'm going to use that to get the fire going here. A little bit of old man's beard and a little bit of birch bark. We'll have this going here in no time. brought this out again. So brought this out a couple of trips ago, but I ended up not eating it after. So got this teriyaki chicken dehydrated meal. So I'm gonna give this a try tonight. Hopefully it turns out better than the last one of these I tried. So I tried the chili mac one last time, and one of the people who watched my video pointed out that I forgot to stir it around when I put the water in. So I think that was the main reason why the last one didn't rehydrate very well. So I'm going to make sure I stir this one good, and I'm thinking it'll turn out better than last time. So just waiting for that water to boil up. So I just wanted to mention the plan right now for my next video is to do my 1,000 subscriber giveaway video. So the channel hit 1,000 subscribers here, I don't know, probably close to a couple of months ago now, but I just haven't had time to do that giveaway video. So I was trying to put some prizes and stuff together, and just trying to get time to get that video out. So I got a bunch of prizes put together now, and hoping to get that video done soon. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that one. Got some pretty good prizes to give away, so if you're into the outdoors, you'll definitely want to get in on that one. So Goose is up by the tent now, finally laying down. I think he's pretty tired now, been on the go all day. It's a hot day too, man. The sun was just unbearable at times, and there was really no way to get out of the sun. So there's a nice little spot that we set up camp here, but there's no shade here at all. The sun was just blazing right down on us all afternoon. So I hate to complain about the nice weather here in Newfoundland. Our summers are pretty short for the most part, so it'll only be another few weeks and you'll start to feel the fall in the air. So not trying to complain or anything, but the sun was just brutally hot there for a while this afternoon. Alright, she's boiling. Alright, we'll give her a good stir. Oh crap. Forgot to take this out before I put the water in. Alright, we stirred her up good this time. Just gonna seal it up now. It says wait 12 to 15 minutes, so set that aside. Pretty hungry now, so didn't take a lot of food on this trip. So first when I used to go out on trips like this, I used to take way too much food. So I used to end up bringing home half of what I would take. So over the years I've been taking less and less food, but the last couple of trips I probably took a little less than I should have. So not much left in the food bag now, just a couple of packets of oatmeal for tomorrow morning for breakfast, and one packet of hot chocolate, which I'm going to have here as soon as I get my supper gone. Alright, time to find out how this teriyaki chicken turned out. 15 minutes has passed. Oh yeah, it looks better. Looks better than the last time. It's a lot thicker. Looks like it rehydrated a lot better. Let's give it a go. Okay. Not bad. So it rehydrated it really well. Taste is pretty decent. It's a little bit bland, but not too bad. Definitely turned out better than the chili mac one that I had last time. But like I said, part of that was my fault for not stirring it. Yeah, I would probably actually buy this one again. It's a little more flavorful than the chili mac, in my opinion. A couple of fish jumping right out in front of camp here. No luck with the fishing on this trip, but I didn't really fish much. Anyways, hopefully next time we'll be able to spend a little more time fishing. It was actually pretty good. So I'm just going to finish the rest of this up and then boil some water for a hot chocolate, and we'll be calling it an evening. So hoping to get an early start in the morning. Got a few things I gotta get done tomorrow when I get back, so we're going to get up on the go early. And I arranged for someone to drop my truck at my takeout point tomorrow, so my truck should be there waiting when we get there, so that's good. Well guys, that's going to pretty much do it for us for tonight. Couldn't ask for a much more beautiful evening than this. So we're just going to sit by the fire, enjoy the rest of my drink, and burn up my last couple pieces of firewood. And then we're going to call it a night, climb in the tent. So we'll see you in the morning. Morning guys. So it's another beautiful one. Not a ripple on the water out there. So it is almost 8 o'clock. So we're just getting up on the go. Sipping on a coffee now. So It was a pretty quiet night. Whew, smoked out here now. Yeah, Goose woke up, I think it was around 11:45. I had the rain fly on the tent, but I had the doors to the rain fly left rolled back. That's what I usually do when I know it's not going to rain, just to get some more ventilation inside the tent. But yeah, I woke up around 11:45. Goose was growling at something. He was looking out through the screen door and growling. So I'm not sure what that was all about. I couldn't hear anything, but I don't know, maybe he heard something, or he caught wind of something. Maybe a fox or a coyote or something wandered by, who knows. But yeah, he settled back down after that, and it was a quiet night from then on. So yeah, we're just gonna enjoy some coffee, get a quick breakfast, and I'm gonna break down camp. And unfortunately, we gotta head out and call it a trip. Absolutely beautiful out this morning, though. Should be a nice morning to paddle across this last pond here. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this one. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. All that good stuff. It all helps out the channel. Helps the channel grow. So, really appreciate everyone watching. And we'll see you on the next one. Let's go, Goose. Come on. Let's go.